So, going back to our main headline, Joe and I are going to be talking about the implications of the North Korea talks, what this means for North Korea and its nuclear program, and what pressures are being exerted against that government. Joe, my first question for you is, how does this round of talks fit in the context of the North Korea talks in general, and why are they important?
Well, it fits into everything in general because this is a long line of talks, as you had said, that have been going on essentially since September of 2005, and basically nothing has happened. So when we look to why is this important, well, for the first time, many sources believe that inside the envoys from Japan, Russia, China, the United States, North Korea, and South Korea, that something's actually going to happen this time. And for that reason, we see it as very important and will hopefully be a major advantage and movement forward in these discussions.
Great. In terms of the differences in this talk, how do you feel different world leaders will take a role in the talks? Will it be traditionally, as it has been, the United States, or do you think regional powers will take a role as well?
You're right, Howard. The regional powers are actually probably going to be more influential in these talks. The United States is going to make sure that it still has a voice, but at the same time realizes it's important diplomatically to take a step down and allow for China, more importantly, to deal with this issue, since they are the one legitimate power that still has a legitimate diplomatic tie to North Korea. Whereas Japan, although is also a big regional player, it's going to be interesting to see how things play out because of the fact that there are huge qualms and problems between Japan and North Korea on many different levels.
Good, thank you.
All right. Well, moving on into some more points, I think we need to hit on the food shortages and see if this has changed Kim Jong-il's opinions, and also pertaining to energy. Well, how are you feeling about those 2 points?
Well, I think food shortages really take a big role in this in these talks. I think the fact that North Korea's recently had floods, which essentially ruined a lot of their crops, and increased the food shortages in the country. There's a greater pressure from on North Korea, both domestically and abroad, politically, to do something about the shortages. I think North Korea will face greater political pressure if they don't do something, and that is one of perhaps the main factor in its increased willingness in these talks. I think oil also plays a role, but as it has in the past, I think it's more of a subsidiary issue.
All right. And finally, and maybe the most important question, is for the present, in general, will these talks even be that successful?
Well, I think that remains to be seen. I think, as I said, food takes a big part in this, in analyzing this. I think Kim Jong-il has to do something, and these talks are probably the best way he can foster international goodwill and deal with the food crisis. What do you think, Joe?
Well, yeah, it's interesting that we're actually talking about Kim Jong-il and worrying about his own people. But it's like you said, when you have a mass population of people who are starving, you actually have to do something about it. Not necessarily that he cares about them as individuals, but he realizes it's in the best opinion, or it's in the best regards for what's going to happen to his regime itself.
Yes, just politically, pragmatically, he must do something.
Right.
Okay, well, good. I think we'll be looking to these talks to see what will be happening in North Korea, and hopefully we'll see a final resolution to this ongoing problem.
It'd be nice for that to happen.
Well, thank you, Joe.